Okay, friends, what is up? It is that most wonderful time of the year. And even before we get started, this is not the time where I give you my bracket picks because after Sunday, I think there are a lot more questions than there are answers. And this would be one of those months, unless you win one of those spots, that you wait until the very last moment on Tuesday before you put your brackets in because there are layers to this NCAA tournament. And you just look at what came out of Sunday's conference championship games. Well, the weekend's topsy-turvy championship games. I'm kind of like Vince Lombardi back in the day on that old NFL films thing. You know, what the hell is going on out there? Well, that's where I am at right now with the NCAA tournament. And I will say this: the first week in the tournament is always something special, as is the Final Four. It depends on how things shake out when you get into the long run of the month-long saga that is the NCAA tournament. But I will say this year is going to be something different because I don't know if there is truly a number one seed. And I mean that sincerely right now. Okay. You you got Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Florida all on the number one seed. All of them has a little bit something wrong, although going wrong with them right now. I mean, Duke's a little banged up. Arizona's hurting. Michigan simply got out physicaled, and Florida loses a heartbreaker. So you can have different um, emotional states that the number one seed is coming into the tournament with this in either region. And I'm going to be interested in seeing how they manage that among anything. So among the teams, according to the analysts, right, the last four in were North Carolina State, Texas, SMU, and Miami of Ohio. Let me give the selection committee its props because I was harsh last week. There's no way that you could have omitted 29 games in a row from a team, no matter what conference they were in, and keep them out of the tournament. Now the pressure's on Miami because what happens is, in the grand scheme of things, if Miami doesn't win a first round game, does not find a way to, advance beyond game number one, them and their conference will be looked upon even farther down the nose of the blue bloods, particularly those who are on the selection committee. So again, I'm not breaking down the matchups as of yet because that is a long time consuming and laborious process so that before you get to late tonight, Monday night, you're going to have the knowledge of where we can or where I see how the first round is going to play out. But I will say this for regional purposes. Regional purposes here on a lot of different levels. I got my eye on the Howard UMBC matchup, and people in the DMV will understand where I'm coming from. So I'm going to take care of my home front before you start moving out there because this is a great matchup. You want to talk about a number at 1 o'clock on Tuesday, you've got UMBC taking on Howard. It may not sound like the most sexy of games. That's going to be a good game. You got to believe UMBC, who I think plays in the Northeast Conference, taking on Howard from the MEAC. Between the two campuses is maybe 45 minutes, an hour max, and that's depending on the traffic. So this is the classic HBCU versus PWI. And I think that there's a lot on the line as far as Howard is concerned. If they can clip UMBC, I think they take a step towards validating the point where I come from, which right now, in this moment, as they get prepared to take care, they're going to play a regional team. I wouldn't be surprised to see if this kind of game, depending on how it's played out, becomes a home series if the two coaches are still there, and that's a whole bigger fish to fry when you start looking at the ramifications. Because I look at Ryan Odom right now, Dave Odom's kid, who is bringing Virginia back to the NCAA tournament. He did his thing at UMBC. He got a win, and then the next thing you know, boom, he out of it. And now he's doing his thing at UVA. So I'm loving that matchup 4-1. Haven't seen enough, but I'm doing a deeper dive as we speak into UMBC to see how that game plays out. And some way or another, if you catch the program on Substack tomorrow, or the segments that we post throughout the day, you probably will get a recap from me, because the tournament begins on Tuesday at 1:00 East Coast time. So again, I'm just count me out. I'll be in my basketball bubble, and I will be interested in that contest for regional reasons. And for those of us in the region, I just wonder how many people, and goodness knows, the Doge cut so many Fed workers' jobs. I shouldn't even be laughing like this, but I'm like, who's calling sick on Monday? If you're in Baltimore, because UMBC, for those of you around the country who don't know, that UMBC stands for University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Howard, of course, is in Washington, D.C., nation's capital, whole big. But this is a huge, huge moment for HBCU basketball, because this is a team that probably doesn't have, I would go so far as to say they're evenly matched talent-wise, if I'm going to be totally objective. It's not like, Howard is bringing in players who couldn't get into major schools. No, they're getting players through the transfer portal and their first option status because of the nature of the university. I mean, they just rolling like that. So this is a big, big regional game. This game says so much about mid-major basketball in the mid-Atlantic states. This would be a big feather in the cap of the MEAC, the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, which Howard has won 3 of the last 4 years. It's been really difficult, however, to move beyond this first game. And by the way the team is built with the talent, and you look at the people who are on Howard's bench, then I just think that it could be a recipe for something special for them. But this is one of those moments where there's a lot of pressure on either side of the parkway, because no matter the fact that Howard University has, noble tradition of excellence in, politics, law, academia, the whole bit. There are a lot of people from UMBC who kind of look down on the Howard types, and when they say, we all we got, well, they also say they ain't like us, and some of us ain't like us over there, and expecting this to be a W. And if you know anything, if you will, from the dark side, hey, the Retrievers, get to messing around and don't take the Bison lightly because of the strength of the conference that they play in. That's why I don't get this RPI stuff and, quad stuff. Ballers going to ball. And the best team that's balling that day is the one that's going to win. So all these rankings and all these algorithms and stuff like that, and, Joey hairpieces and name your other college basketball bracketologist. I mean, when did bracketology become a thing? Only thing it is. So this is why we play the games in March. This is why, for somebody like me who has an affinity for HBCU sports, is looking for this matchup. This is a matchup that you want to have in this moment. Now, you wish you could have got it in prime time. But again, I understand that there's a regional thing, but geez, y'all costing DC and Baltimore. You costing yourselves the DC and Baltimore markets playing that game at 1 o'clock. And as individual markets, maybe not that big. Combined as one big market with all the stuff that goes in, yeah, you're missing the boat on that one. That game should have been early in the evening. You make that game 4 o'clock. You make that game 7 o'clock. It definitely works. So the too early time to get the two mid-major type teams out of the way doesn't work out for us as fans in the DMV. But we have devices. We do have devices. Remember that. If you went to Howard and your boss is acting like a jerk, find the game on your device. It's at 1 o'clock. This might be the day to, extend lunch by an hour, Not that I would encourage any malfeasance in the workplace. No. But, every once in a while it comes on a moment. I mean, don't you want to see it live? Huh? Don't you want to see it before you know? Because if you put it on the DVR that when you get into the car and you're going home, somebody from HUR is going to tell you that Howard has won the game. And the buzz is going to be blown when you get home. Just saying. And of course, for those of you at UMBC, I guess that would be 92Q or whatever. Man, I can't wait for that. And see, I can be the bitter, jealous bear who just wants to stoke both people so I can get a good game. But that is a very interesting matchup to me on a mid-major regional rivalry level. And they're going into the sticks to play that game too. So here it is. I know there are a lot of people in the DMV side of the Parkway that are welcoming and are looking so forward to seeing this game. Now, and we're not just talking about me either. Okay, we're talking about seasoned basketball analysis from people who understand the landscape and the significance. I'm not going to say it's as intense as Maryland and Georgetown, but from a regional standpoint, this would be a big pelt for Howard. It really would. I guess, and for UMBC, the flip side to that is the conference that they play in will respect the fact that Howard's a tough team, but they don't feel like they should lose. So I don't think anything's going to be given to the Bison on tomorrow. You're going to have to earn everything. Going to have to continue to make them shots from downtown that were falling in Norfolk. That is the one good thing about playing on Tuesday, though you got to go to East Jesus to play your game. And that, and that means you're not traveling that far. You're, I think, going to be somewhere up in New York, but we'll get all the dates and times. I know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be at a watering hole. Don't know where it is, but I mean, gotta be on top of the game somewhere, don't you? Anyway, it is your boy, Professor G. Mark. Great. Thanks for hanging out with us here on OG Sports Wrap on Substack and the network. Remember, download the Sports Wrap Network mobile app. Common spelling, because we got.